Hello everyone, welcome back to another session of Selenium training. So in this session we are going to learn about how to handle shadowDom. So shadowDom is one of the important concepts in web applications. So they are applied for security. So in this session we are going to see what is shadowDom, how to handle shadowDom, and how Selectors Hub saves time in handling shadowDom. So let me open one web page and show you how the shadowDom looks like. If you see here, I have launched an web application and I have a search box here. So let me inspect it. So if you observe here, this shadow DOM which we are highlighting here, it's under shadow root, and you can observe it's an open, right? So let's first understand how this shadow DOM looks like and what is this shadow DOM. So shadow DOM is isolated DOM inside a DOM and have its own scope and not part of original DOM. So if you understand the concept of document object model, which is DOM, so each and every HTML tag or whatever it is, it's in a document structure which defines how the element should be placed on a web page, right? So inside each document, you will have a shadowed host. That means each and every shadow DOM or shadow element is embedded with an another element, but it's not part of directly, it's not tagged with the DOM structure. So just keep a minute, we will jump to the structure of DOM and I'll show you how exactly it looks like. So if you see the picture here, we have a document object model, and for the DOM, for the document, there is an attached shadow host, and that for the shadow host, we have shadow root. This shadow host is not shadow element, it's a normal document element. So HTML body, input, so that's a shadow host. And shadow tree is nothing but which are embedded with a hashtag of shadows. So again in shadows you might have a different elements, and in shadow roots you might have nested shadow roots. And this is the normal structure. So why we cannot handle shadow DOMs? So it's very difficult to handle shadow DOMs in automation unless we use some methods like JavaScript and CSS. So if you see here, I have put some a few notes here. Shadow DOM cannot be handled using XPaths, and we will see that in practical. And shadow DOMs can be handled using JavaScript plus HSS. We have to use these two concepts in order to identify the elements in the shadow DOM, and it takes more time to write the paths compared to other elements. And Selectors Hub is the tool which will allow us to save some time and use the auto suggested paths. Okay. Now in this session we are going to see a normal method of writing or getting shadow DOM and the method using the Selectors Hub. We will see it in practical, and also we will compare the time, how much it takes between the normal method and the Selectors Hub method. Now let me take you to the web page. So if you see here, we have an HTML tag, and inside that we have head tag and the body tag and the books app, and inside this books app we have a shadow root, and inside this shadow root we have a different elements. So if you want to navigate to this books search box, you have to first check this root element shadow app, sorry, book app, which is the shadow host. This is called a shadow host because if you see, if you come in a reverse order, the books search box has shadow root, and again this shadow root is embedded with app toolbar, and again this app toolbar is embedded in app header, and again this app header is embedded in shadow root. So this is the root element of the shadow. So that's the reason the element which is embedded this shadow root, the top element is called shadow host. Here book app title is called books. This line which you see here is the shadow host, and the remaining, this is the shadow DOM. And inside this shadow DOM we have a nested shadow DOM. Okay. So Now how you will handle this? So let us use this DevOps tool, dev tools, and try to inspect this element. Okay, so I'll copy XPath. Okay, and I'll paste here, and observe here it's saying 0 of 0. Okay, that means you can see here 0 of 0. It's not able to identify the element. Or even if you use CSS, let's take selector, and let me paste here. See, you are not able to inspect this. Again it says 0 of 0. Okay, so you are not able to handle this. Even if you try to use this XPath and CSS in your code, it's not going to work. So what we have to do to handle this search box, or type something on this search box? Let me take you to the slide again. As I said here, if you observe the screenshot clearly, this is the shadow host. Book app title books is the shadow host, and the down part which you see shadow root is a shadow root. And one more thing you have to remember is shadow root and space you have seen a open, right? There are two types of shadow roots. One is open and other one is closed. So shadow root is basically for security purpose of a web application designing. Okay, so we can handle the elements which are in shadow root open, but we cannot handle the elements which are in the closed. So there might be a different methodologies. I am also searching to find solutions how to handle closed shadow roots, but for now we cannot handle the closed. We can only handle the open part. Now let's see how to handle this element, and let's type something in the search box. So if you see here the arrow mark, this is our root element. Sorry, this is our element that we need to find out and type something in this text box, right? Now, in order to come here and type the text box, you have to navigate in an order, since it's a shadow root and we cannot handle it directly. So first what you have to do is you have to find the element of the shadow host, and then you have to cast it and store it in a web element using JavaScript. We will see in a practical way. And then next you have to navigate to this app header, and the third step is you have to navigate to the app toolbar. Here you can see two app toolbars. One is toolbar top, another one is toolbar bottom, and this input box, text box residing inside this app toolbar bottom. Okay, and again once you come to this toolbar, you have to again navigate to the books input decorator, which is part of app toolbar. And then once you come to this app input decorator, then using CSS you should handle this input text box and type something there, right? So now let us see it in practical example how to handle this. So let me go to Eclipse. Okay, so for easy understanding I have just made it side by side so that you can relate it how we are writing the code in normal way. Okay, now so we will write these 5 steps here and just see how this is handled, and we will compare the time between how much time it takes between the normal method and how much time it takes using the selector sub method. Okay, now as I said you, the first part is we should write, or we should find the shadow host. Okay, shadow host. Now so let me create a web element here, and let me call it as root underscore shadow host driver dot find element of by dot css selector. So what I have here, book app title books, right? So let me take book app title is equal to books, right? And let me close this. Okay, the first step is done. We have got shadow host. So once the shadow host is done, we have to use JavaScript executor to get those all the elements. Okay, use JavaScript statement to get the shadow host or shadow root. We have to get this shadow root. Okay, so how do we do that? Let's create a JavaScript executor. JS is equal to driver, and we have to cast this driver to JavaScript executor. So click on this and it shows add cast to JavaScript executor. So that's how we have created an object, right? Now what we have to do is we have to inspect the shadow root, right? So now we have to get this shadow root, which is the shadow DOM. So I'll call it as shadow DOM is equal to js dot execute script of, we have to pass two argument here. One is return statement and the shadow host element. Okay, so how do we do that? We use return, okay, and arguments of 0 dot, we have a method called shadow root. This is a predefined method. Okay, use that, and here in the second argument you have to pass the with shadow host element which we created, and you have to cast this to the web element. See, when you click here add cast to web element, so cast it to the web element. Now we are done with the first step. Now first step we have done with getting the shadow host, and in the second step we have got the shadow root by using the JavaScript executor. Okay, now let's let's get to the second step. What is the second step? We have to get the app header, right? So get app header. So I'm going to create one more element here, web element. Okay, app header is equal to, we have to use this shadow DOM now in order to get this app header, because this app header is inside this shadow root, right? So similar way that you navigate to the XPath slash slash slash, right? So in the same way we are using this method here but in a different way. Okay, let me maximize this. Okay, so app header is equal to, we will use shadow DOM dot find element of by dot, see we will use the tag name now, and you can see this app header, right? So we will use this app header. So simply type app header, right? Now we are already in the step number 2. Okay, now step number 3 is to navigate to the app toolbar. We have two app toolbars here, one is toolbar top and other one is toolbar bottom. Now we have to navigate to second one. So for that we will use the class, or yeah, we will use the class, or yeah, we will use the class. Okay, so get app toolbar. So again I'm going to create web element, app toolbar is equal to, again we have to use the second element which we have already written, because it's in the second element, right? This app toolbar is inside this app header, so you have to use app header to find that element. So app header dot find element of by dot, so this time we are going to use CSS selector because we are going to use the class name as well. Okay, So app toolbar dot toolbar bottom. Okay, so we are done with the third step. Now we have to get the book input decorator. So we have to now navigate to the fourth step, that is book input decorator. Okay, so get book input decorator. Okay, now again you have to create the web element book input decorator. So just try to give the same name so that there will be no confusion at all. Okay, so now this book input decorator is inside this app toolbar, right? So you have to use app toolbar now. App toolbar dot find element of by dot. We will use the tag name since this app book input decorator does not have any attributes. We will use the tag name. Okay, so book input decorator. So let me copy it from here. Book input decorator. Now we are almost here in the fourth step. Now what we are going to do is we are inside this book input decorator, and now you can try to access this input tag, which is the targeted XPath. Okay, which is the targeted XPath. So now just take this element dot, or you can use another element also. So let us call it as fifth step, get the search box, get the input search box. Okay, so I'll call it as web element search box is equal to book input decorator dot, because this input is inside this book decorator, right? So find element of by dot CSS selector, and we are going to use input, and for now we will use area label as our attribute. Okay, so input area label is equal to, let me take from here directly, search books, close this and done. Okay, now we are almost in the fifth step. See, we have navigated to the till input. Now search box dot, I can do some operations here, dot click, dot send keys, or something, anything whatever you need. For now I'll be writing some statement to send some keys, and for just a validation purpose I'll write something, um, successfully typed into search box. This is just because if my statement fails in any of the above steps, this statement will not be executed. Just for our validation purpose we are writing this statement. Okay, now it will handle the search box and it's going to type inside that search box. Okay, so observe carefully what we have done here. Let me recall. First step is we have navigated to the shadow host, and in the second step, or in the same step, we have taken the JavaScript executor, and then we have navigated to the shadow root. Okay, so using this root shadow, because we used a method here, shadow root. Okay, now using app header is the one next we need to go. So we have navigated to the app header using shadowDom dot. So just see here shadowDom dot and again app header, and in the next step app toolbar again we have used app header dot, and again book input decoder, and again app toolbar dot, and again search box, again book input decorator dot. So we are navigating step by step like we navigate in the DOM structure. In DOM structure you use slash HTML slash body slash something like that, which is a absolute XPath, right? So in same way we are trying to navigate step by step and we are trying to come to the input box. So let me try to execute this program now and see how it works. The web page is open now. It's launching the web page and it will type knowledge share inside the search box. See, so it is successfully typed. Okay, and see, successfully typed into search box. That means I'm just confirming that all the above steps are passed. Okay, so this is how you will handle your shadow DOMs in a normal way. Okay, now what we are going to do is I'm going to comment all this program. Okay, I commented all this. Now let's see how this can be handled in easy way. I think till now it might have taken 3-4 minutes to write all these steps, right? So if it is a complex application, it might take more time for you. It depends on your application, right? Sometimes if there are more shadow DOMs, it might take 5 minutes or 10 minutes or depends on, right? Now we have taken sufficient amount of time to write this code. Now let's see how we can reduce all this headache and just do a copy paste of the code and then simply run the code. Okay, let me navigate here. So this is the input box that I need. Just scroll to the right, go to the Selectors Hub plugin. I think you have already seen the sessions of previous sessions of Selectors Hub where I have explained how to install Selectors Hub and what are the uses and all, right? So just if you haven't watched, just please I'll leave the link in the description box. You can just have a look on that. Now you can see here when I selected this input which is inside the shadow DOM, it says this element is inside shadow DOM and for such elements XPath won't support. So it's giving us some suggestions as well. And also if you see at the at the top, you see in shadow DOM. Whenever we inspect element, Selector Hub has a capability of identifying whether it is in a shadow DOM or not. So it's giving us, and also it's giving some some message here. This element is inside shadow DOM and for such elements XPath won't support. It's giving some suggestions as well. And it's generated for us the relative CSS selector and JS path, okay, and tag names. And if you see at the bottom, if you scroll down, see, you can see the code here. You can see some code here. Let me copy this code simply. Okay, let me copy this code and let me paste here. Okay, I haven't done anything. I have just given this web page name and I have just copied the code. So here let me give some text dot send keys of knowledge share. Okay, now let me run this code. You can observe web page is launched, the browser is getting maximized. See, knowledge share is typed. Okay, so imagine how much time it took. It just a click in seconds, right? We have just clicked this element, we have just copied the code, pasted here, and we are writing whatever this of methods we need to use, whether we need to click or whether we need to send keys or find some text or something like that, we can write here in a seconds. So all this code here, you don't have to bother. Okay, you have to bother about what you have to do with the elements at the last step of the code. Okay, so all these are handled here. And don't get confused about this string cx selector for host 1 and all. So these are put here automatically generated for the persons who are working in Cypress or some other applications. They, for them that will be useful, but for you, you have to concentrate on the codes here itself. Okay, so if you want to remove this thread dot sleeps, you can just remove it and handle as per your wish. Okay, see, I have commented all this code and I just copy pasted from Selector Hub, and it's working very beautifully in very less amount of time. In fraction of seconds, you are getting the complete code. So whatever the complexity of your applications is, you can make use of the Selectors Hub and copy paste your DOM structure code or DOM elements which are inside the DOM, and then you can make use of it. Okay, so this is very easy. I request everyone to use this, make use of the Selectors Hub for handling shadow DOMs and save your time. It will definitely benefit you. Okay, so that's all for now, and hope you like this video, and thanks for watching this video. If you like this video, please like and please give any suggestions in the comments box. I will definitely take it into consideration, and I'll ping you the links which are given in the PPT into the description box. You can just take a look and read about these shadow DOMs. Thank you and have a nice day.